Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
We're here today. We're rocking the mic. Here we go. Testicles 1, 2. Testicles. Welcome back to Paranormal Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Trebles Garcia, the humble host of this amazing adventure. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. I want to remind you guys that the most important thing that you could do for the show is word of mouth. Do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. And make sure you check out the new affiliations on ParanormalRadio.com, Flavors of the Forest. Make sure you season your meat before you eat. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have an amazing episode lined up for all of you guys. This guy he's a ghost thumper, ghost hunter enthusiast. He's been here before, jumping from the deep end of the pool and setting the mood. Please give a warm welcome to Ghost Joe from the Warp Reality Podcast. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?
It's going well, dude. It's going good. I'm
man,
glad that you're back on the show, bro. You're amazing, bro. What's up? How was your...
It's been a long time, man.
Yeah.
But, listen, I just want to say, because I wanted to say this on the air too, bro. Let me tell you, not only are you a smart guy and I love your podcast and stuff like that, but when I tell you, man, I don't, obviously your audience wouldn't know, but like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had a health issue where I had such bad stress that I had lost my eyesight for a while. Nice. And it was really, really tough for me. And when I tell you, man, you were one of the only people that contacted me to ask me how I was doing more than some of my family.
Wow.
So I appreciate that, bro. I'll always appreciate you for that.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. Yeah, you crossed my mind, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, we collaborated a lot. You gave me not only great episodes, but great information. You gave me segments on my show for a couple of months, I believe. And we were collaborating. We were doing work with each other, bro. And you're an inspiring person. You are a law enforcer as well. And I cherish my friends, bro. I cherish my circle, the people that I mess with. Regardless of the numbers, I worry about the content, the character of the people, and what we promote is hope and curiosity and learning and researching and taking 5 seconds every day to go to the search bar and really take the time to do the research yourself on all of these fronts. Thank you again for your kind words, and you're always welcome here, bro. I'm glad to see you up, and I'm glad to see you working at Warp Reality Podcast. Tell us a little bit about the show. Where can people find you?
They could find me on all the podcast platforms. We actually added in Paranormal now, so it's the Warped Reality Paranormal Podcast.
Woo! All right.
Give it a little bit more. It's a little bit more of a mouthful, but it's all right. And you can find us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, TikTok, and Instagram, and some Facebook groups, and all that stuff, all that good stuff. So you just type in the Warped Reality Paranormal Podcast. You'll find us on all that.
And you could still find you, if people don't know where to find you for any reason that they can find you, that you're still on the drop-down menu of Paranormal Radio Podcast. Still to this day, you're there. Because one of the hardest collaborators we've had.
and you're actually always on mine too. On all my show notes, you're always there.
Good shit, man. Good shit.
Yeah, man. Listen, we got to stick together. That's the one thing I got to say. I think I probably said this on one of your podcasts too. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I love about the podcast community, and that's what kind of keeps me going, is that there's no competition. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just doing it, and we all help each other, and there's no animosity. There's no, like I said, there's no competition with anybody. And everybody's so helpful and so cool in this industry and the podcasting stuff. So
yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
It is, man. It is, believe it or not. Again, so I want to thank you for being here, and everybody, make sure you check out the Warped Reality and Paranormal Podcast. That's what I'm saying. Did I butcher up?
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, make sure you check him out, ladies and gentlemen, on podcast platforms, and give him a shout. Check him out. He has great content. Today, we're going to do a freestyle conversation, but I also want the people to know what you do and what was your most recent research. Before that, you sent me a message and you wanted to talk about what happened on the 13th of November, which a lot of people skipped over, bro. So this is what's going to make me push this episode to come out maybe this week. because of the content. You have some information or speculation and opinions on what happened with the UAPs. These people are under oath at Congress talking about
Right.
having UAPs on 4K TV stuff, bro. I'm talking about recorded
Yeah.
content.
Yeah, I mean, and this was like a real, hearing that they had called the House Oversight Committee hearing. And for UAPs, if anybody doesn't know, that's unidentified anomalous phenomena. Basically UFOs, but they wanted to change it to make it sound, I guess, a little bit more, whatever. And
Because they're not flying
and
objects anymore. Now they're swimming objects.
right. Well, they don't, and the thing is, the government doesn't want to say, oh, it's aliens. And listen, we don't know what they are. That's why they're unidentified. They could be other countries, they could be other things. But what these guys were saying was that no, they're alien. That they're alien craft, not from any government. And that's what some of these guys were saying. They had people. Well, the one guy that's been very outspoken is the former Department of Defense official, Luis Elizondo. He's written books about it. He's been in the limelight and put himself out there for a long time. A lot of people have some skeptical views of him, but he was there. Journalist Michael Schellenberger was there. A former NASA employee, Michael Gold, and a retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral. I'm going to butcher
Whoa.
this name, but it's
Yeah.
Timothy Galladay.
Mhm.
And they all, like you said, they all stated that they've seen either images or seen up close, alien technologies and some of them, I believe Elizondo had even said that he'd actually seen alien bodies as well, up close. And like you said, these guys are under oath and they're saying this. Why would they put themselves out there? What, for 15? You're not getting 15 minutes of fame anymore for this.
It's not that. Hell no. It's they have to tell you what's happening. And we're being so distracted, not only with the elections, with UFC fights, with Mike Tyson stuff and all that, with the full moon and all this crazy stuff that's
Right.
happening, bro. But we've been so distracted with the current day-to-day events, bombarded by the propaganda machine. I'm gonna get a little conspiratorial here. I hope you guys don't
Go
mind.
for it.
But it's kind of like where you guys are getting bombarded with all senses, radio frequencies, sounds, everything you're watching, listening, consuming is bombarding you on a daily basis with fast-paced news, and I'm using air quotations here, that it makes you look the other way. Also, we've been so desensitized to what the truth is, and we're also been disattached. Now, I'm not sure how religious you are. I've been walking more on a spiritual path lately. And I think that every conspiracy theory does lead to spirituality, and it's very contradicting because even there was a prophecy. If you guys could look this up on YouTube, I forgot her name. I don't have it at the tip of my tongue right now, but she said that the prophecy would she saw like a vision, one of her dreams, where there was going to be two races of aliens fighting in our skies, one that came from above and one that came from the depths of the abyss which is our oceans, and the humans would fight against the sky people alongside the ocean people. And I know it sounds funky, and I know it's funny, and I know she was probably tripping on DMT. You see what I'm saying? But I mean, look, bro, you as a paranormal enthusiast, a lot of the things that we encounter on a daily basis are on a different realm and a different spectrum, bro.
Yeah, and it's funny that you used the word distraction, but you used it in a different way because a lot of people are saying that they're putting out this UFO stuff to distract us from other things. But you actually said that
The other
these
way.
other things are distracting us from this.
Mhm.
And my whole thing about that is, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are a lot of people that aren't that bright, but we could all think about or look into other things. Like one thing isn't going to distract us from another big thing. So that whole point, oh, they're distracting. I don't really know if I really believe distracting,
Mm.
but I do believe it in your way too, though, because in a way, though, when you think about it, think of years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, they've they've desensitized us, but they've desensitized us because they put out all these movies, and
I was about to say that.
most of the movies show aliens in a good light. Most of them, minus a few. Um, but like you go back to Mork and Mindy and Alf, and where they show all these aliens in a good light and in a good way, and you feel like they're kind of showing you all this stuff, so when it finally happens, you're not going to be as crazy and
Impacted, yeah.
right, impacted by it.
Mhm.
Um, and the one thing that I noticed throughout the years was years ago in like the 80s and 90s when you used to hear about a UFO sighting on the news, it was a joke. Like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, there was a UFO sighting," and they'd be laughing and not really caring. Now it's a real story.
Word. Now it's not just the movie Science. Now it's just not Independence Day. And I don't know the number of how many movies it is, but if you guys can go and do your research, hashtag look it up, fellas, go and search how many alien movies was released the last 10 years, how many demonic possession movies was released in the last 10 years, and
Oh,
then
that, yeah.
and then connect it because the more and then look up how many alien movies were released. I'm talking about low budget and high budget movies in the last 20 years, and compare how fast they have been bombarding you with that narrative, which then simplifies it for you, and then in your subconscious, it's already regular for you. So by the time these aliens do come out to the light, it's already normalized. You're desensitized to it. You're desensitized to demonic entities, to
Right.
transsexuals, to aliens, and that alien word is thrown around loosely a lot. You call them aliens, and then you call also immigrants aliens, and you take away the power of the word so that it's not as
Hmm.
impactful in your brain, so people, so that society doesn't really collapse.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that.
Say that
What's
20 years ago, imagine what would have happened if that would have come out 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, and like you had said too, that you're right about the demonic possession thing. I didn't even think about that. How much they've actually been showing that as well. I mean, it's all look. It's you know years ago. I mean, maybe I just didn't care, or I didn't want to care, but all this stuff seems very by design. Like they
Oh
nothing.
snap, I can't believe you're saying that. Look at that.
It's
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's true, like everything that comes out, it seems like, you know what? Like why did that happen? F- for example, now I'm not saying anything about, because COVID was a bad thing,
Mhm.
right? Um, but COVID came out, and then just when we got the handle on COVID, right? When things started calming down a little bit with COVID, now, oh, we're gonna get killer bees.
I
And when
remember
that
that.
didn't when that didn't fly, when that didn't go for like a week or so, then it was something else. Then it was something else. So it's always like, I know this is kind of turning into like a conspiracy type
Conspiracy.
thing, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but but it's true though, like you
Mhm.
look at the stuff, and like I said, I never wanted to be into politics or into any of that stuff. Like I just want to let everything go and just be like, it is what
Mhm.
it is. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But over the years, there's nothing you could do other than look into it and look at what's going on, and if read up on certain things, and
You see a
I'm
pattern.
yeah, like I'm a certain party. I am with a certain party, but if I don't like a certain candidate of that party, I'm not going to vote for them. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go with who I think is the right person,
Mhm.
you know? Um, so I try to always stay like I always try to look at non-biased stuff,
A very critical approach, a common sense approach. Hmm.
which is kind of difficult in this day and age.
It is
It's
extremely.
very, very hard. I think honestly, like the best places to look are like the places like overseas, like the BBC news and stuff like that, like you know it it doesn't matter for them, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they're not part of a specific party, they're just gonna
Hmm.
tell you the news,
Yeah. Hmm.
um but what's your thoughts on the whole UAP thing? Do you think that there's a alien, or
It's absolutely aliens, bro. But the word aliens, I told you, like it's thrown around very loosely. Now that I'm looking at this, and I don't want to be an extremist here, but I'm glad that you asked me that because I was doing some dot connecting recently, and now I I'm trying to put together parts where I see patterns of conspiracy theories with spirituality, and uh, and I like saying this on the episode sometimes. Sometimes I do go back at the Bible and I dig in the Bible and see what I can find if the agenda repeats, if it's already foretold on Scripture, and then I compare it in different translations or languages. I take the time to see if it's gonna be like if it's the right word, if the word means little, if it means a different meaning of little, or small or faded or different translations to see what it really would mean, right? So I'm like looking at it, but there's a story in the Bible where Jesus approaches this guy, this man that's been possessed, and he tells him, "What is your name?" And the guy goes, "My name is Legion." And he goes, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Release this man now, and return to the abyss." And the man and the demons say, "No, please allow us to exit the man and enter into the pigs." And there was a flock of pigs, just grazing, eating fucking grass and stuff next to the cliff. And under the cliff, it's the water, it's the sea. So he goes, "I allow you, go ahead." So the demons leave the man. The man's cured, right? He's released from the demons, and the demons all crawl spiritually into the pigs. They possess the pigs. And as soon as they possess the pigs, all the pigs run off the cliff into the sea, and they kill
Hmm.
themselves into the sea. Hashtag look it up. So then all of the demons go into the sea. So I'm thinking Atlantis, mermaids, and all of these other aquatic entities, Loch Ness, and all these creatures that we've dreamed about, seen about, cryptids that we learned about are all part of this underground sea kingdom that has to be spiritual in the first of all, and then second, satanic. So yeah, they're aliens, to simplify the question, but they're not only aliens, they're interdimensional demons. And I think that's where they're going to come from. The Bible also states in Revelations, right? Not to make it a biblical podcast, but it states that the dragon and the monsters and the three-headed, seven-headed serpent comes out of the sea, and the monsters come out of the sea. And I'm like, what the heck, bro? Am I tripping balls here? My boy from Cryptid Warfare Operations told me that he's ex-military. He's also a cop, and he goes, he's ex law enforcement, and he told me there's a sect of the government that fights these critters, and that's their name, critter. I think it's critter unit or critter. If correct me if I'm wrong,
Hmm.
ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag look it up. So I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's a trip. It's a trip, man. So I'm thinking,
Wow.
okay, out of the water. Then Jesus walked on the water, kind of like saying, "I walk over your domain." Kind of like implying and metaphorically saying, I walk over like, yeah, it was impactful for the disciples, but it's also implying like I'm never gonna be under the water because I walk over the domain, and then he gets baptized under the water. You see, when that water flushes and you're
Right.
reborn. So there's a lot of little dots, little speculate. You could theorize here, guys, but I think they are aliens, and I've always known they existed, bro. Yeah, I've always felt like they did exist. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. It's funny because, on my podcast I talk about, I mean, all the facets of paranormal,
Hmm.
ghosts, aliens, demonic possession, and aliens and cryptids and all that stuff. And yeah, I've had my own paranormal experiences as far as with ghosts and hauntings and stuff. But you don't know how badly I've wanted to see a UFO. Like I live in upstate New York. It gets real dark up here and I work on the midnight shift. So, I drive at night to go to work and my eyes are peeled, because there's no cars on the road anyway, it's just me. My eyes are peeled at the sky like I'm like, all right, I got to see something. And if I see something, I'm gonna get out of my car and I'm gonna videotape it. Like, and, and
That's
I'm gonna be
why.
and I'm gonna be one of the only people to get a non-blurry video of a stupid UFO because everybody's videos are blurry. Now,
Hmm.
mind you, a lot of people say that they think that the UFOs do that actually, to kind of disrupt the signal. That has been said a lot. You know, that being said, I don't know. I mean, you got to think of all the elements. If it's at night, the lighting is always bad at night,
Mhm.
especially
When
pointing
you zoom in, it get pixelized. It pixelizes.
right, all that stuff. And, yeah, the zooming in and all that. And it never focuses. And in your as much as you're trying to stay still, you're nervous and your hands are kind of shaky and stuff. And,
Yeah. Hmm.
and it moves so fast. Actually, I had just went to this UFO or UAP seminar recently,
Hmm. Hmm.
and this guy that was there is a what was he? He was an astrophysicist. This guy,
Hmm.
and he actually had said that he he believes that UFOs don't move fast. Like you think, like a lot of people say, like, "Oh, I saw it here," and then it just zoomed up in the sky. You know what he's saying is there's there's like an apparatus or whatever you want to call it on the ship, and what it does is it creates these little pockets of black holes, temporary black holes, where the UFO will go in the black hole and come out another black hole. So it looks like they're going real fast, but they're really not. They're like kind of popping in and popping out of dimensions, just like you
Hmm.
said, they're interdimensional.
Hmm.
You know. So he basically said when you're looking at them,
Hmm.
they're not actually even in our dimension,
Hmm.
or at least they're not in the dimension for too long,
Hmm.
for a couple seconds,
Hmm.
you know, and that's how he said that they move.
What you're talking about is U.S. patent 2019-02957333A1 U.S. patent. I did an episode on patents recently, and we
Okay.
freaking went on that stuff, bro. And we found out that the US has already patent technology
Yes,
that
they do.
allows to infuse it, like it makes a warps time and
Hmm.
space, so that in it, but the sphere, or I mean, like the aircraft has to be in a specific shape for it to work. It's a trip, bro.
Right.
It's a trip. Yeah. So hashtag look
Yeah.
that up. Yeah, man. Crazy bomb.
Yeah, it causes I forget the terminology. I'm not very smart. uh not protons, electrons, but it's something similar to that it creates, and the that element creates these black holes. And that's what they were saying. But yeah, you're exactly right. That's he actually had said that the government is actually working and has a
Which
working
is what they
model
said too. That
of
the
it
top five
as well.
governments in the world are reverse engineering those
Right.
aircrafts and weaponry. I have there was this video I was watching for research purposes today on the simulation theory, and it tripped me the hell out. It was very mathematical. I'm not really good with math. However, um, it's MC squared, all that, like the famous Albert Einstein equation, right? And he was talking about, like, okay, so if everything's moving at a very fast pace, we're trying to emulate here what humans have been doing is trying to emulate what the creation of the universe, how it happened, the Big Bang, and how fast matter's moving, right? And everything's vibrating. So, uh, why is it that we experience life the way we do experience? And he's like, okay, so what it is let's put that equation backwards. I'm not a mathematician here, guys. Hashtag look it up, and I'm gonna try to share that video. And he goes, what we're experiencing is our eyes are capturing light moving. This is why we can't hear light. So we are witnessing eyes, and our brain is some matter. It's decelerating matter so that we could experience life. So what those aliens are, they're not experiencing life the way we experience life. This is why they don't experience time, space, or aging, or even gravity the way we experience it, because they're not decelerating matter. They are part of that matter, interdimensional. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I wish I
Yeah.
had a better terminology to explain it for you to you, bro. It's crazy. It's a crazy video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. And it's like all this stuff. I mean, you were saying it before too. It can't all be BS. You know what I mean? Like there's truth thrown in there. If it's not all true, there's some truth thrown in every single thing that comes out, you know. Um Now, not getting political, not getting, but what they did say, now I had done a segment on my show a while back, probably when I first started the podcast or a few months in, um where the Israeli space commander had actually come out and said in an article, yes, aliens exist. yes, they are going to show themselves, but now this was in 2020. He
Mhm.
said, but they don't want to come out now due to what the world is going through at the moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he even said, he goes, Donald Trump knows about them. And
What?
he legitimately said Donald Trump knows about them, and they'll come out when they're ready to come out. And yeah, now going back, now he's President-elect Trump, right? Um, he had actually said in an interview, I think it was Joe Rogan, or it was like a town hall thing where
Mhm.
they said, "Are you going to disclose UAP information if you become president?" And he said, "Absolutely yes."
What?
He said, "If there's anything to disclose," he goes, "I will disclose anything." Yes, he goes, "If I become president, I will disclose UAP information,
That's
anything that's out
insane.
there." He goes, "Because that should be transparent." And and that was another thing that one of the chairwomen said at this oversight committee was that the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, called Arrow,
Mhm.
that they're in charge of collecting all this information about all this stuff that the government is finding as far as the UAP stuff, and they're not being transparent. They're not even being transparent about the budget that they're using.
What? And how do we not know how to audit these people? What?
Oh,
Sounds
and
like
that's
a
another thing.
spy. These guys are
Wait, and that's another
siphoning
thing.
money. Mm.
And that's another thing she said. She said that the Pentagon has failed the last however many audits. Like they've failed them. She goes, in fact, she goes, I don't think they've ever passed one, you know? And yeah,
What?
and she said this actually if you actually watch it, it's kind of like in the beginning too, when
Mhm.
she's first talking before she announces everybody. And yeah, so what that's what she's saying is that this one group that the government had tasked to find out information is lacking transparency. And either they are unable or unwilling to provide government information regarding UAPs.
That is huge. That is huge because so many things. These people could be working for a different government, siphoning money, spies, uh, cartels, or even worse, the aliens themselves. This is just fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it could be anything because all right, well, what better way to get money out of something? Well, let's take money from this. Nobody's gonna be looking into this crap. We'll just tell them we haven't found anything, you know, and
The
they're gonna take the money from it.
They were measuring the frequency of the Earth on the night of the election. And guys, this is not a political podcast, like at the beginning of the theme song on our show. Um, but it is. uh, freaking the night that my boy Trump won, the entire world vibrated at a higher frequency, and you could look this up. I also posted a video on the Instagram page for Paranoid, and it leveled up consciousness itself, everything. The earth was vibrating at a higher frequency because us collectively, we all felt that win, that relief of stress. The days after the election, bro, even though I live in a deep blue state, in a very deep blue area, dude, everybody was walking around happy. I didn't interact
Yeah,
negatively with anybody. I was like, what the heck? Like, we needed this. Like, it was like elevated. And I'm not saying Donald Trump's our hero and he's not, he's Jesus or the Messiah. No. What
right.
I'm saying is we all vibrated at a frequency, and coincidentally, as soon as that happened, all this disclosure's coming out even worse now. It's crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Mhm.
again, politics or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
there were a lot of there's a lot of closeted Trump fans. There's a lot of people that said, "Oh no, I'm not going to vote for Trump," and they went into the voting booth and they voted for Trump. just just because they don't want to be, they don't want to get into fights with people that there were. I mean, obviously there were. I mean, what, like 75% of the country voted for him? I don't know the exact percentage, but it,
Hmm.
it was up there,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's just, and actually, he even said that. I believe at that same town hall, not only did he say that he was going to look into UAPs for disclosure, but he was also
Mhm.
going to disclose JFK
Important.
information as well.
Yeah. How do you think that's gonna make Bobby feel? Bobby Kennedy. That's gonna be insane, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you another final question here, bro, before
Sure.
we chop it up and close the show. Tell me about one of the most recent research that you're bringing to the show right now, bro. What's hot? What's popping on Warp Reality, man?
Well, other than the UAP stuff, I mean, right now we're doing a lot. I'm putting out a lot of horror movie stuff and horror movie, because that's another thing. I feel like they kind of go side and side, paranormal stuff and horror movies and stuff. So we've been doing a lot of that. The UAP stuff is huge. That's all over the place. As well as the demonic possession, like you were saying, that I believe I had done it on your show, one of the segments about demonic possession, and they're still doing they're still doing exorcisms to this day. You know, um, mind you, there's a fine line between people that are mentally ill and people that are actually possessed. So I don't know if you ever seen this show. It was on. I don't even know if they're still making it, called Evil. The show Evil is about a psychiatrist and a priest that go out and they investigate these claims of demonic possession, and they gotta see if it's a spiritual thing or a mental health thing, and that's the whole thing about the show. It's a really good show, actually. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with the whole demonic possession thing, is that you don't really know. And the thing is too, is that my thing, another thing I want to touch on too. Actually, I wanted to get this off my chest too. So, so I'm on a lot of these Facebook groups, right? Paranormal Facebook groups and stuff like that. And I actually just got suspended from one for 5 days for trying to help somebody out. And it really got me annoyed, right?
What?
So a lot of these people put up these, and I'm not faulting you for not knowing, or, you know, a lot of these people put these pictures up of, oh, do you see anything in this picture? And then everybody's like, oh, I see a white figure in the window. When if you look at it, you could clearly see that it's a bright day out, and that's a reflection of a tree across from the window. And you could clearly see it if you look at it, right? Which is fine. But this one person had said that, oh, I keep hearing three knocks on, my door, and everybody commented, oh, you got to get help. That's demonic. That's blah 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 blah. And I immediately commented in saying, no, it doesn't always have to be demonic. Like, you guys are I'm going to use the same word you said before. You guys are fear mongering. Like, you got to stop doing that. You don't know if it's demonic. Okay, that's one possibility. But what if it is a spirit that just wanted to knock 3 times? Or what if it's the baseboard heating? My baseboard heating knocks 3 times when it comes on.
What if
You
it's a
know,
kid playing Ding Dong Ditch?
that's what I'm
The
saying.
neighbor's
So
kid. Yeah.
so you don't know. So, but all these people, oh, it's demonic. Oh, and I'm like, you guys just got to stop doing that. And because I spoke my mind, I got suspended from the page for 5 days. Now I'm still gonna be good. And, because they have like 200 and something thousand followers on there. So I'm like, and I promote my podcast and stuff on there. So I don't want to have a bad relationship with them. Um, but it was funny because the first post that I posted up, as soon as I saw that I wasn't suspended anymore, I now I was getting rid of some stuff out of my garage recently. I put, my kids are getting older and stuff, so I put like these 3 Hot Wheels out and a few bikes out in the front because people around my neighborhood will just drive by and take it. And that's what happened this one night. But the way my Ring camera caught it, it did like a time lapse, and the way it looked like the bicycle just like there was a bright light and the bicycle disappeared. Right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, yeah.
So I posted that up on this website, on this group, and I said, did a UFO just take my kid's bike? What was this? You know?
They ran with it.
Of course, there was somebody like, oh my God, it said person detected, and there was no person there. Like, really, guys? Like, whatever. I'm just gonna let it go and see how far it goes. Just because,
You know
like,
what, bro? You need that type of marketing sometimes, bro. You
right?
gotta do that sometimes, bro,
Oh
because
yeah,
it fuels them.
and
Yeah.
you know I put the Warp Reality Paranormal podcast on the video too, right?
That's what I'm
But,
talking about. Yeah.
but it's just like it's the same old thing that it always is, like
Mhm.
people don't want to hear and like it wasn't even me I was trying to help the person. And then these two ladies started going off on me saying, "Oh no, well, what do you know?" and blah blah blah, and it's a demon and this and that. And I said, "No, it's not. Stop fear mongering." And I'm the one who got suspended from it. I'm like, "Oh man, really? Of
They
course I
probably
was the one."
reported you, all of us reported you. And it's like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of people don't like going to the search bar and searching up stuff. So what they want to get spoon-fed entertainment. They're mostly based and they make decisions based off emotion. Not to bash on women or anything. If you guys want to believe on that stuff, it's good. But even me, when I hear, I just got, so I'm not gonna mention any names, but I was invited into a group, and then I walked myself out after I seen the people that was collaborating there, and it's just, people like to fearmonger, not do the research. It's like those people that when Helen happened. And North Carolina got hit by the hurricane, and everybody was putting up Alexa saying they were asking Alexa, did Helene was Helene made by direct energy weapons or by HARP? The way you're asking the AI machine to repeat and to look for the information, it's gonna look for that relative information. So it's gonna give you the answer that's more common to the way you're asking the question. Instead of asking, is there any proof that Helene was made by direct energy weapons? Oh, what caused Helene? No, you had to mention direct energy weapons in there. Like the way you asked it was giving you a specific answer because that's how AI is. Now, if you go to Google and you search using different terms, it's going to give you a completely different answer. And people weren't doing that. So when I was putting that up, people were like, no, just using that, you're like, bro, you're hopeless, bro. Like if we're in a truth game and we're going to be conspiracy theorists exposing truth, you got to do it in the name of hope, bro, so that people could
Right.
learn, people could, make a village and create, coexist and learn how to love each other neighbor and grow their own food, etc. Right? This is what it's about, hope. I'm not
Right.
gonna be in a conspiracy game to fearmonger and live off people's fear, bro. But unfortunately, a lot of people like that. They see the code, they see the patterns, and people just like to get entertained, bro. Imagination's a thing. This is why men interact with women a lot better when they're not completely naked, when they're in the lingerie. Why? Because it's sexy. It makes your imagination go crazy. It's the same thing, same concept, bro. Yeah, man.
And one last thing before we go too, man. So so on all of that and about AI and all this stuff, right? So tell me what this is. Now, obviously, it must have been the way I said it or the way it was said, right?
Mhm.
But I took my 11-year-old. We were going to get ice cream,
Mhm.
and I ran into the ice cream place and I left her in the car, and I said to her right before I opened the car door and I said, "Hey, don't go driving the car now, being silly." I was like, "Don't go driving the car." Do you know that my Siri popped on? I didn't say, "Hey Siri." I just made everybody's stuff go off. Um, I didn't say any of that. My Siri came on and said, "I don't think you're insured for that." And I'm like, "What?"
Oh,
And my
oh.
daughter's like, "Did it really just say that?" I
Mhm.
said, "Yeah." I said, "Freaking Big Brother is always listening, man. Like, Big Brother's
What?
always listening, man. Like, that was insane. How did it, like, and I didn't say anything close to Siri or asking it a question. I just said to my daughter, "Hey, don't go driving anywhere now." And it said, "I don't think you're insured for that." Like, wow.
The
Where did
fact
that
that you
come from?
didn't say "Hey Siri" makes
Right.
me believe that it's always listening to you, and it triggered the AI to
Always.
say something because it expected you to say Siri. Now, if you would have said "Hey Siri," then you know how she cracks jokes sometimes. I would have seen it in a way
Right.
like in a lens of like, oh well, you said "Hey Siri," she took it like a joke, so she replied jokingly, right?
Right.
But no, you didn't say Siri, so then it
No.
changes the whole concept, dude.
I
Oh man.
know. That was the weirdest thing, man. I was like, me and my daughter just looked at each other for a second, like, what? And that wasn't
Yeah.
the first time that happened.
Mm,
I forget the thing that happened, but another time
mm,
Siri just came on out of nowhere and just like answered us without even saying it. It was like,
mm,
all right, I'm like, this is getting really weird now because and we all know that these things do listen to us.
mm,
I could talk about buying pants right now, then like in an hour I'm gonna be getting ads for pants.
Word.
That's just how this stuff works.
Hmm.
But it's just funny that this thing just came out of nowhere and just answered me like jokingly,
Hmm.
and I didn't even say anything,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
It's insane.
yeah,
That's
man.
insane, bro. We gotta be careful with the machines that we're using, with what our kids are using and watching. And most importantly, what we gotta do is check out Warped Reality and Paranormal Podcast today on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Ghost Show. Let them one more time. They don't know where they can find you, bro.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, you could like Treble said, just Google it or go on, all that stuff. And I don't have the website up anymore. I gotta redo that. But yeah, just go on YouTube. All my shows are up there. I have some short video content up there as well. The Warped Reality Paranormal Podcast,
Mm.
TikTok, and all that stuff. And I'm always trying to add some stuff. And also, if you have a paranormal experience that you'd want to share on the show, it could be totally anonymous. You could call 845-600-0744 and leave me a voicemail, and I'll play it on the air. It could be completely, like I said, completely anonymous. You could send me an email at ghostjoeny@gmail.com with that as well, and I could read it. And there's no judgment, no judgment. We have fun on the show, but I would never make fun of anybody and make fun of their experiences because the way I see it is if it's real to you, it's real to me. So.
Let me ask you something. What do you think about that mimicking ghost phenomena that's happening, that's taking everybody by storm right now, bro?
The mimic stuff.
The mimicking
I
stuff, dude. That's
I
a trip,
I
bro.
I actually did a little video on TikTok about it, man. I I love it. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even want to really go looking for that, man, because that would freak me the hell out if I heard my own voice or somebody that's not home calling me. That you know that stuff is really freaky. Some of those TikTok videos. I mean, obviously a lot of them are fake, but some of them might not be. You know. And they're really freaky looking. They're really
So
freaky sounding.
let me blow your head, bro. Let me blow your mind. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Mass reduction, machine manipulate field, amazing speed, grace elements, whatever. U.S. patent U.S. 20200041236A1. Crowd control and nonviolent intervention, direct energy to create plasma microscopic holes in the skin tissue of a patient. However, when used on metal and other hard surfaces, it creates 3D image of flying objects in the sky. Check this out. Thus, the Foo Fighters and the mimicking ghost that sounds like a family member but really is a demon. The machine can be used to generate a replica of one's voice frequency. Theoretically, the plasma ball can also pass through solid substances, therefore creating an image of illusion. U.S. patent. That was also
Wow.
weaponized. That's fucking. Go figure,
Wow.
bro.
That's insane.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
So I'm not saying what people are experiencing is the U.S. patent technology being turned on. What I'm saying is that can also be a possibility.
Sure.
I mean, that's yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's my whole thing too. A lot of people, oh, well, you know, you could be a realist about things. Like for me, I lean more towards a believer. Of
Mhm,
course,
mhm, mhm,
doing the podcast I do.
mhm,
Do I believe in everything I talk about? No, I
mhm,
don't believe in everything I talk about.
mhm,
But I want to, and I want to hear what people say about certain things.
mhm.
Some of the people that I've had on my show, I'm actually going to have a guy Al Santariga coming on in a few days. He's the head of a few agencies, a UFO group and a Dogman group and paranormal
Woo!
group and all this stuff. And he regularly sees UFOs. And you know what? I believe him because he's a straight up Italian New York City guy that doesn't give a crap what you think. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
And that's the kind of guy that I believe. Like
mhm.
whenever I tell my paranormal stories to people, I always give them a disclaimer. I'm like, listen, I'll tell you what's happened to me, but just know I don't care whether you believe me or not. You know, because I believe me and I know what I saw, and that's all that matters to me. So if you believe me, great. If you don't, great. I don't care,
Mhm.
but I'm going to tell
Mhm.
you what I know,
Yeah.
you know.
I've seen enough myself that I've shared that with you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've shared. So I believe, I strongly believe in the paranormal, and I just have a lot of respect for it. I don't like fucking with it. I have a lot of
Yeah,
respect for it because, if I don't know what I'm messing with, or I just leave it alone and, everybody in their own
absolutely.
corner. Yeah, man. Make sure
Absolutely.
now you're also breaking down satanic movies. You're doing serial killers, slashers, and all that stuff. I assume like you used to before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't really delve into the true crime stuff.
Mm,
It's mainly just the paranormal stuff. The true crime stuff, I know a lot of people say is real big, but
mhm,
as a correction officer myself, I don't
mhm.
really like delving into that because I feel like I'm bringing my work home with me.
I hear
You
you.
know,
Yeah.
talking about murderers and stuff like that.
No,
Like I'm like,
absolutely.
like I deal with these guys at work. I don't want to have to talk about them not
Hmm.
when I'm trying to do something I like to do.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, all that stuff. I really would love to get somebody on that knows about or that knows the theory about time travel and interdimensional stuff. I'd really like to get somebody on that at least has a theory about it. You know, I
Let
mean,
me
to
get
be
you. Let
honest,
me get you connected with a couple of people, bro. They,
okay,
I think White Rabbit podcast, Catalyst Jones. He's a huge person. He has a lot of connections with people that with simulation theory, time traveling theory,
nice,
gravity and Rio theory, and then the K4V3, the Cave podcast. They're now doing a series. Shout outs to my boys Joe Reezy and everybody there. Um, they are doing breaking down demonic possession movies and what it means. And
wow,
yeah, it's crazy stuff. They came up with this crazy ad. They found this research out where the name hobo, it meant actually it's not so hobos back then used to do hieroglyphs on the walls during the Great Depression so they could communicate with each other and tell each other where food and loot was going to be so they could go and jack the food and steal the food from people when the Great Depression was happening, where they could find job,
huh,
where they're going to be able to eat. And they were using special little codes, which is kind of where graffiti was like, it was taken that the culture of graffiti. I was like, what? Get the fuck out, dude. So the word hobo
wow,
meant actually, something different back in the day. I was like, get the hell out of here. Yeah, so breaking down movies like that, I was like, I think you should be
wow.
connect that stuff. You know what I mean? Get you back into the podcasting game pretty hard.
Definitely, man. Hey, everything comes from somewhere, right? Like you were
Yeah,
just saying, like, wow, that's
yeah,
crazy.
it
That's some
does, man.
crazy stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen,
All
make
right,
sure
man.
you check out Ghost Joe, More Reality and Paranormal Podcast on all podcast platforms. And don't forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out.
Paranoid Radio.